been doing a lesson on mythology, okay? And so you've talked a lot about allusions in text, right? Whenever you're reading a book, does anybody remember what allusion is? When a text alludes to something? You want to give it a shot?
I think it's what the lesson was.
What the lesson was? Okay, so an allusion, remember we talked about in the text, it referred to another book or story. Remember when we were reading and it referred back to Hercules? Okay, so that was an allusion. So we're going to do something really similar to that today. It's going to be text to text and text to self and text to world connection. So making connections when we read. And so I want you guys to remember when we did a lesson in Miss Candy's class and we talked about a safe classroom, our happy man is our safety man. Okay, so we want to practice safe comments for each other, making each other feel comfortable, because sometimes we answer with a wrong answer, but that's really okay. We want to make only positive comments to each other. Remember to be respectful of each other. Also, we want to identify these 3 connections in a text. So this should be pretty fun. So we're going to start. I need you guys to help me fill this out. So we're going to do the first kind of connection that you find when you read is a text-to-text connection, just like an allusion that we talked about. It's when a book reminds you of another book or a movie or something. And so I'll put that here for us. So this is when you're reading along and you're thinking, wow, that really reminds me of that time in the best school year ever, when the herdmans were going crazy. That's when you think of a story when you're reading another story. Or sometimes when you see a movie. So has anybody seen a movie that's also a book? Anybody seen the movie maybe Charlotte's Web? You guys seen that? Did you read the book Charlotte's Web? You have the movie. So it's also a book. It was a book first. And so sometimes when we read those books, we think, oh wow, that reminds me of that part in the movie also. It's very similar. And then our next, and we're going to use these later in our lesson for our connections. So this guy is our bookworm. Everybody see our bookworm? You guys are each going to get a bookworm. So he is your signal. This is my text-to-text connection. So when you're reading, we're going to practice later, when you're reading and you find a connection in your text, you're going to put this down to remind you he's got a book. That must be a text-to-text connection, okay? Because it reminds me of another book or story. And then our next type of connection is our text-to-self connection. So this is when you say, wow, I read that part in the book and it reminded me of a time in my life when I was with my mom, we were at the doctor's office. It's when you, in your head, you find something that you remember a part of your own life. So text-to-self connection is when it reminds me of a time in my life when, so you can think of an example for yourself. So, a text-to-self connection. Does anybody have an idea of one in their head? Think of one. I'll give you a piece to practice with in a little bit. So this is our smiley face man. This is us. This is me. I'm a smiley face. You guys are a smiley face. So this is yourself. So when you're reading, and we're practicing in a little bit, finding these connections, and you find a text-to-self connection, oh, that reminds me when I did this. You're going to lay that right there and think, oh, that's my text-to-self connection. Okay? And then a text-to-world connection is our last one. So this is when you're reading and you find something that reminds you of something in the world. Okay? So So this one can be pretty broad because sometimes things that remind you of something in the world you were also involved in or have been seen in movies and stuff like that. But this one's a lot bigger. So let's draw a picture in each of our thought bubbles that will help us figure out what those connections were. You guys want to do that? Feel like you can give me an idea for each? What should I write in the text one? A text to text one. Emily, what do you think? If I'm reminded of something I read in another book, what should my picture cue be? A book? Okay. Toss a book in here. Okay, there's our book. What do we want it to be? What book is it? What is it called?
Heaven is for real.
Heaven is for Real. I like that book actually. I read that. Did you read that book, Emily? Did it remind you of anything of another book that you'd read? You made some text-to-text connections. One thing I forgot to tell you guys. This is our world connection. So this is like our globe or whatever. It is going to be our cue when we're reading. Oh, I made a connection to something in the world, so you're going to place that on top of the part where you found it, okay? So, for our text-to-self connection, what should I draw on the box? Anybody have any ideas? Gabby? If it reminds me of something in my own life, you could pick anything from your own life. What about someone playing a game or someone, do you play any sports? What'd you say, Emma?
Playing with their dog.
Playing with their dog? Yeah, we could draw that. It's going to be hard to draw. Can't really draw a dog, but we're going to try. We'll do walking their dog. Okay. I don't know how to draw that, guys. There's our dog with its ears. It's so cute. That's the worst dog ever. Michaela, you don't like my dog? Oh, I do. Okay, so a time in my life where I walked the dog. So if you read a story, specifically Wonder, I can think, what was his dog's name? Do you remember? Daisy, sweet Daisy. So we could think of a time when we're reading about Daisy and we think, oh my gosh, I remember when I walked my dog Sadie. That's a text to self connection. So I would put smiley face man, okay? And then text to world. What should we draw here, Dallas? A globe. Seems only fitting, right? Text to world connection. Put some green in there for our land. Okay. So for our next part, you guys are going to get to practice. And we're going to read a chapter from Wonder. I'm going to read it with you guys. I'm going to make my own connections. So, you guys are pretty familiar with Augie and his story. So, read through the whole chapter. But before you start, what kind of connection is this? Gabby? What kind of connection is this? What is it, Kayla? Text to self connection. I'm going to use mine too. Right here for self, I'm going to go ahead and draw us a smiley face so we know that's that same kind of connection that we're going to use as our eraser shows us, okay? So our text to self connection. If you need to remember it, you can look up here for it, okay? And then what about this one? When you find a text to world, text to world connection. Use mine, and then a text to, you know it, Michaela. Text to text, that's right, good job, Madison. Okay, so think about your bookworm. He's reading another story. so he can remind you of another story that you've read, or a movie, or something like that. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and get started. Also, when you place these on them, if you want to, if it helps you, you can underline the part that makes you think about another story or something in the world or your own life. So you guys go ahead and take 7 minutes and read, and I'll let you know when you're